Hello and welcome to this presentation. My name is Lee Snyder, the application consultant for the Steel segment at Tekla Inc. This is part 3 of our viewer videos where we'll be covering the improvements to the project viewer, which now replaces the viewer license in Tekla Structures version 20. The two previous videos covered the out-of-the-box functionality of the viewer and the extensions that also work with the viewer license. All of that functionality still works and exists within the project viewer, and what this presentation will cover are the new features that are available through this license. So the first thing that we'll go in and cover is a tool called the Class Check Manager. What this is the ability to select any sort of objects within Tekla Structures and run a class check or to identify any conflicts or certain surface interferences. You could run on the entire model or from just a selected area. I'll just go ahead and select this particular area right here, and you can see that the clashes will now be categorized into this user interface. As I click on them, they'll be illuminated there within the model. You have the ability here to right click on these and status any of these clashes, so assign, fix, approve, ignore. You can also prioritize them as well as group them. If you had a group that you wanted to send to the detailer or to the HVAC people or to the joist company, you could do that, or group ones that you just simply want to ignore. You have the ability to come in and print these off. You can also come in here and save these as well. So you can save the entire clash, or you could do a save as, rename it, or do a save selected. Then as well, you can also come in here and you can filter by any of the information within here. And the Clash Check Manager keeps a running history of when a clash was detected, when it was fixed or approved or assigned, when it was corrected. So you have a running history of that clash. The next thing that you can do within the project viewer that you weren't able to do before is you have a whole bunch of export options. Specifically, the DSTV files or the NC files. You can also export IFC, 3DWG, DXF, DGN. You can export drawings. You can export KISS files, EJE files, or even directly to SketchUp. We'll focus mainly on just the NC files here for the time being. So what I can do is come in and just identify a particular beam or group here within the model. It could be an entire phase, a sequence, or one single member that you want to produce the DSTV files for. You select it in the model or for all parts. Click on Create, and it will go ahead and generate those files here within the model folder. So if I open up the NC file folders, you can see all of these pieces that have been generated. Tekla has a bunch of partners that provide free DSTV viewers. This one that I'm showing you here is ATEC. So here you can see this includes the coping information, of course the hole information, as well as the scribing information or contour marking where it locates where these specific plates need to be welded or this angle needs to be welded as well. The next improvement is that within Tekla you can also come in and add or author user-defined attributes. So if you double click on any member here within the model, you can easily see the profile, the name, the grade of material, but you won't be able to edit that information. However, if you come in and click on the User-Defined Attributes tab, it brings you access to all of these where you can then go in and author these user-defined attributes within the model. You can create your own tabs up here if you want to set something up specific to your workflow, or you can use some of these out-of-the-box settings. To show you how that works, I'm just going to simply group select some objects, or we could do it individually, and begin tracking, for example, the shop status here. So I could come in and say that these particular objects are being scheduled. I could group select these ones and say these ones are being in assembly currently. And then this group, I could say that these have been completed. So any user-defined attribute that you want to author within the project viewer, you have the ability to do that. Once you do that, you can export any of that information out into reports via XML, Microsoft Excel, or just in a generic notepad format. In addition, you can also come in and you can colorize the model based upon any of those particular attributes. So if we wanted to colorize the model based upon that shop status that I just input into the model, very easily and quickly now you can see the colorization depicting what's going on with these pieces. And you can also load in the properties to see the key to verify what the colors mean in this particular instance. So I'll go ahead and change my representation back to standard here. And we can take a look at another tool. So in addition to adding user-defined attributes, we can also do the lotting of trucks. So if I open up our lotting tool, you can come in and quickly set up the number of trucks, what the max weight is. I already have a couple set up in here. And one thing that's nice is that if I come in and start clicking on these, you can see that it's going to begin deducting from the max weight. And once I reach that, I won't be able to add any more trucks to that, or I won't be able to add any more items to that truck. So here I can just come in and just select a couple members, hit apply selected. It will then apply those. I could then group select these as well, and then we can just set up 3 different trucks. Once those are set up, I can come in and change my representation here within the model. So then if I come in and click on these, very easily I can see where those objects are. Once that information is in the model, like I said, you can come in and run reports. So we have an out-of-the-box lotting report. So I could come in and run this, and then it will go through and output that information for me. Like I said, this is in XML, HTML report, or you could do it into Microsoft Excel or a notepad with all the proper columns and everything. Similar to the lotting list, you can also do the same thing for the phase manager. You can come in and break your model down by phases. So if I change my representation to show only what's illuminated, I could choose a phase, select object by phases, and be able to quickly see what's in that particular phase within the model. Just like the user-defined attribute information, we can come in and colorize the model based upon that information. So if we wanted to see the model based upon lot colorized, then we could do that. We could also do the same for phase. So any information that you input into the model, you can export via reports, and you can also colorize the model to view that information. So I'll go ahead and change our representation back to standard. Another option that you can do with user-defined attributes is a tool called the project status visualization. What that is a tool that will allow you to view the project in a time frame specific review. So if I come up here and launch the project status visualization tool, then I could load in these assembly shop fabrication planning settings. And what this will allow me to do is that I can identify a specific review date, and then based upon what I have planned or scheduled, I can step forward or backward to view that along the time scale to determine how the project is progressing. So if I click refresh here, it will then colorize my model based upon the settings within the saved attribute, and then I can just simply come in here and step forward or step backward to see how this project is progressing. If you click on edit here, it will then show you what these colors are indicating. So green would be the planned fab start date, yellow would be issued to shop, and blue would be the actual fab date. So you can go in and track those or set up your own rules to be able to view this information to help tell you the story. So another quick way to be able to view information is through a new tool that was launched in version 20. It's called the Organizer. And what this allows you to do is to, again, categorize the model based upon different sections or floors or phases or sequences and locations, as well as specific filters. So here I can see that I have broken down in the model the beams, the columns, the channels, or any other filter or whatever you would want to view, down to the bolts, down to the welds, or even components. And then if I click on one of these sections or categories, you can see that it will report out this information for me within this interface over here known as the object browser. Once I have that information there, I can simply click on export. That will then export that information straight to an Excel spreadsheet that I can use for further tracking. To give a quick idea of how this works, I'm just going to quickly isolate this user interface for the category, and I'm going to drag the organizer there off to the screen. And then what I can do here is that I can quickly just click on these and it will start illuminating this for me in the model. So if I wanted to see what was on floor 1 in section 1, I can view that there quickly. If I want to do the same for floor 2 or floor 1, over in section 2, I can do that as well. And one thing that's nice is that if I click on this floor 1, you can see that it highlights everything that I have there, beams and columns or channels or whatever. And then if I just come in here and click Control on the beams, then it will just report out just the beams that are in floor 1 at that location. So it's a real nice tool that quickly organizes the model based upon your filters, and it constantly updates. If you model in new pieces or if you delete members, you just simply resync it to the model and it will update the quantities and manage all of that appropriately for you. So I'll close that tool down and launch just a couple PowerPoint slides to talk about some additional features. This is the Task Manager, which is also available within the Project Viewer. We've done a lot of videos about this before. What this is just the quantity-based scheduling, where you can go through and bring in your Microsoft Project or Primavera schedule into the model, link it to the objects. Once the user-defined attributes are populated, you can get the accurate and reliable planning, and it also will establish your production rates for you and tell you your % complete. So a real nice tool, again, that's available within the Project Viewer. Next is the comment tool. I showed this in one of the previous versions in video 2. The additions and improvements that we've made in version 20 is now that there's a live link between Tekla structures and Tekla BIM site. So you basically have a 3D model instant messaging tool, which is very powerful to be used on projects. Next is the RFI Manager. Similar to the comment tool, you can go in and manage the RFIs and link them into the model. You can colorize the model based on the RFI statuses, and it will also come in and check for any overdue RFIs. And then there's several methods that you can quickly share this information for any of the different project players. The construction sequencer is an update and improvement to the erection sequencer that we had previously. What you can do is come in and define the erection order and create reports and animations. So here you can see we're just going to quickly generate a pick list based upon the order that we defined within the user interface. And it's a real nice, easy tool for erectors to use, or anyone who wants to plan any information there on the project and output that via report or to view it visually within the model. So one last reminder is about the attribute import, where you can do cloud-based information exchange. You can do that using the extension that I covered in part 2, the data exchanger, where it doesn't matter if someone has a Tekla license or not. You can export them a file and then they can gather and track that information and send it back to you that you can import into the model. The same works also with FabSuite TME, the FabTrol Model View, and the links with Strumis, is that if you're tracking information within those programs, you can bring that data back into the Tekla model and have it populate those user-defined attributes. So this concludes part 3 of our presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at the email address listed there on screen, or reach out to your account manager and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.